Right, I'd like to welcome everyone to today's session. When we talked about building this particular webinar, we got a lot of requests from people to really do this because it's been a while since we've come around to handle this type of teaching. But given the fact that we do have some people who don't know anything about technical analysis, or we're starting from scratch here, and that we're going to try to get a good preview of what technical analysis can offer many of you. Some of you are quite seasoned, as I've seen, so for maybe the intro part, you're going to have to bear with us because I have to be able to lay the foundation for the rest. And later on, as we come around and talk about trends, then we can start elaborating on some of the things that we normally use as a trader. We're dividing this session into 4 parts. Today, we're going to cover spotting and identifying, spotting, and following trends. We'll talk next about correction scenario patterns in the second session. On the third session, we'll introduce technical indicators. And on the fourth session, we'll put everything we've learned in those last 3-week sessions and try to be able to give everybody a much more wholesome exercise of how these collaborative efforts by different indicators and points of view will actually work together. All right. So in our ability to carry over, I'll now move on into my presentation. Okay, so since we're going to be talking about an introduction to technical analysis and of course what trends are going to be all about and how we're going to make use of it, let's just run through a quick outline of what I'm going to be talking about today. So we will start off first by understanding what is technical analysis, why do we need to use this? I'll give you a definition and, of course, working knowledge on how to be able to understand why we study this and how market price becomes of great importance to us. And, of course, I'll have to show you how to use graphs and how to use some of the indicators. We'll probably do that in the next few sessions as well. In terms of the main content, we're going to start with the very essence of what technical analysis is all about, which is really trying to identify what trends are and how do we go ahead and subsist or stay with the trend as long as it lasts. Because there's good money to be made over here, and it will not help if many of the things that we learn tend to be more confusing and just shooting us in and out of a situation and does not allow us to be able to partake of what these particular up moves or down moves may actually hold for us. And under the conditions of trends, we'll talk about what a bull and bear market is, what is support and resistance. We'll talk about how to draw such trend lines, and we'll try to be able to cap off by giving a demonstration on how to put those things together. Okay, normally one of the biggest questions I usually get after my seminars are usually, what books can I make reference to? So I'll put that up front right now so many of you guys can have a look at some of the prime reading materials that people come to do. The first 2 are pretty much core technical analysis books. They're pretty thick, but these 2 authors, John Murphy and Martin Pring, are pretty much the bedrock of what technical analysis is all about. I would prefer you read the first rather than the second, because the second, it's very detailed and it's written in such a way that might take some gearing in your end. So John Murphy has a much easier English style, so you might really want to be able to look at that. Then, of course, a master swing trader is something you want to look for. Alan Forley. This will give you a good hand of how to best time the movements of the market, because as it's called a swing trader, it gives you conditions that you really want to look for looking for potential setups into the market. And there are a lot of different other books that kind of talk about swing trading, but I think this might be a good primary book to start off with, and you can probably look at the rest. For those who are interested in looking at Japanese candlestick charting techniques, the Bible for Japanese candlestick charting is really a book by Steve Nissen, and it's quite illustrating, and so you really want to have yourself some time to immerse yourself in what this is all about. You don't really need it immediately, but if it's something that you want to look at later, especially for those who want to look for patterns inside the Japanese system, then I would suggest it. I mean, after this, you don't really need to read too many books on Japanese candlestick. This one can do everything for you. Also below, I've indicated some URLs that you probably want to visit for like stockcharts.com, bigcharts.com, and even TradingView if you want to be able to have a look at certain stocks. And Big charts could even give you charts in the Philippines. All you have to do is put a PH colon, then your local stock symbol to have a look at what the chart would look like. Also, for those who want to further their education here, under stock charts, they do have a area there called school.stockcharts.com/docu.php, and in here you see a lot of references on the material I'll be talking about today, and it's really very educational. So when you have time, do go ahead and do that. The author of this is actually the author also is John Murphy, and he's contributed to the articles into that website. So at least you know that you're learning from someone who's quite experienced already into the industry.